Hello and welcome to Radio Free Nintendo. It is February 12, 2026, and this is Radio Free Nintendo episode 963. I am joined today by Mr. Greg Leahy.
Ahoy, ahoy, everyone. It's Friday the 13th here, so as usual.
It is, you're right.
I've got to be
definitely do well for us.
Extra careful as I record tonight.
Mr. John Lindemann.
It is great to be here, James, and I appreciate you using such formal language to introduce me.
The pause has me concerned, like you were thinking about whether or not it was actually great, but I'm just going to assume that it in fact was great, and that everything is great. And last but not least, I'm joined by Mr. Guillaume Vayette.
Hello.
And I don't think I've actually introduced myself, although John sort of did. I am your host, James Jones, and we're going to get right to new business today because we've got one email that's probably going to take a goddamn hour on its own. I'm not stupid. I know what I'm looking at. I'm looking down the barrel of a loaded time sink. So we're just going to get right to business. And I am impatient. I am the kind of person who rips open the wrapping paper on the largest gift first, and the largest gift in front of me right now in my notes says John: Animal Crossing. So I need to know, John, tell me about your Animal Crossing.
Well, that's
experience.
the thing. They said they put out the free, the free update or whatever. I haven't bought any of the DLC or anything like that, even though I may. It's on my wish list, and when something's on the wish list, eventually it probably gets bought. I can tell you that. It's funny because I had not played this game in forever, and actually I'm trying to find the screenshot. I can't find it. I was going to post it on Blue Sky, but because it was so funny, because so I go in there, and after completely pulling the controls out of the recesses of my mind, because I just completely forgot, even though the controls are simple as hell. I know that. But, I'm sitting there like, okay, so, how do I open my inventory? And, okay, all right. And, but that game is kind of, you can do a lot, but it's also very shallow at the same time. It was pretty funny because one of the residents of my island, it was so funny because you talk to a couple of them, and they say, oh, hey, we missed you. So glad to have you back, right? But then one of them I talked to, it wasn't Scoot the Duck, because Scoot the Duck is he's always just rolling around with what looks like a jockstrap on his head and, talking about gains or whatever.
It's fashion.
Yeah. And so I think I went into one of the houses of one of the residents, and she says, wow, I haven't seen you in 4 years and 6 months. And I was like, damn, that's harsh. And I think it probably has been that long since I've played that game.
There's no reason why the game would lie to you.
Yeah.
The game knows exactly.
It doesn't feel like that long, but when I think about it, it's like, yeah, that would put it probably about maybe 2022, 2021. And that's kind of when I fell off the wagon with this game, and really because after the COVID buzz died down and all of that, and I really didn't play it with any regularity, and then I eventually just stopped playing it altogether. But I don't know. Like I'm really thinking. I don't know how you guys feel, but I may dive back into it. I was never really into it hardcore, but I am curious because I do have a certain fondness for this game. It's just it's just dumb fun. Right. I am pretty curious about, kind of what else is out there and what they've added. They added a hotel, did they not? Right?
They did.
Is that the big hook? Yeah.
It's kind of like the Home Raider stuff from previous games.
Mm-hmm.
So it's you basically do rooms for people. My understanding is the hotel stuff also has like visitors come visit and things. So people who aren't in your island.
Mm-hmm.
So there are people who really like that, and then there are people who are psychopaths who have made an effort to curate the population of their village who hate it.
Yeah.
And if you're wondering if that sounds like they have forced these people to leave, yes, that is exactly what I am saying.
Curating like that sounds very
Sinister.
Eugenic.
It sounds sinister.
I guess I would say.
I was thinking pure sinister, but you're not removed from reality with your statement.
I'm in the neighborhood. I realize I'm in the neighborhood.
Yeah, you're in the terrible neighborhood.
I guess, yeah. That's
Won't
an interesting.
you not be my neighbor? Yes.
It's curating the people that are on your island. That's a very interesting way to phrase it, by the way.
I didn't want to say they're cleansing the island. No.
Right. I mean,
they're not killing them. They're just being bad neighbors, so they leave.
It's the kind of thing where you realize that there's people that are in an entirely different headspace than you. I mean, I've never.
Oh yeah.
I guess
a much darker headspace.
I've never taken Animal Crossing so seriously that I wanted to have some people on the island and some people off the island.
Right. This person needs to leave. I don't like their style. Tangy, get the fuck out.
Yeah, I guess
Tangy, get the fuck out would be the name of the episode if I was allowed to put the word fuck in episode titles.
I'm surprised you haven't done it. You run it by Neil. Run it up by Raritan. Or actually, don't even run it by Raritan. Run it by Neil and have him agree to it, and then just put fuck in the title. I think that would
work. Go, what happened here?
Just say Neil said it. Just say that Neil said it was okay.
Neil said it was fine.
Yeah. I guess, like, what on people, so these people that are curated, what's the criteria? I'm honestly intrigued by this concept.
It's just whatever style they find to be, like this person wrecks with their style of what they want their island to be. I don't know that it makes a sense. I don't think it does, but there are definitely people who are like complete lunatics with Animal Crossing. Like just absolute psychopaths, and they'll like hit the people they don't like with bug nets to piss them off and shit like that. Like they just legitimately don't like these people.
And over time that makes them leave?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Yeah, like, you know, you can make people hate you, and it's very very funny.
I mean, sometimes you just realize there's a whole world out there you don't even know about.
It's bad, but
yeah,
it's funny.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
I'm amused by it.
I mean, it's Animal Crossing. It's the least serious game out there. It just goes to show you that anybody can ruin anything.
Oh yeah, like I can ruin everything. Just give me 20 minutes.
Yeah,
I'm good at it.
Yeah, so we'll see with that. Yeah, so, you know, I did get the free update, but that's the thing with Animal Crossing. Like, you get in there and you're like, this is dumb, but it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun just like, you know, it's kind of fun just going in there and digging up fossils and taking it to the owl and, you know, even though I have a lot of the stuff in there now, but I don't have all of it. So it makes me think.
What if you got all of it?
Yeah, what if I got all of it?
What if you got all of the artwork?
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, I think I'll probably get the expansion just because why not?
Well, so the expansion comes with Nintendo Pro, whatever it is, expansion pack.
Oh yes, actually, yeah, you're right. I do, and I do have that expansion pack. You know, thanks to playing Soul Calibur.
So, John, you already have the deals.
Oh man, you see, it's quote unquote free.
That's right. And now you only have to keep it forever.
Yeah.
Isn't that great?
Man.
Isn't it great that you get to keep that forever?
They really got me over a barrel here.
Isn't that awesome?
It's amazing. Awesome. Yeah, you know what that's called? It's called recurring revenue, and Nintendo loves it.
That's right. Investors love it.
Yeah. That's the thing. You know, as a journalist, it's probably in my best interest to, yeah, I mean, as a distinguished journalist, I would say it's probably in my best interest to just have it around anyways, because eventually I always wind up coming back to having to play something that is not on the normal, peasant level, Nintendo Online.
As the paragon of journalism.
Yeah.
It is imperative that I can't keep this joke going. I'm just trying not to say it. Holy fuck.
Yeah.
But you know, John, I saved you from accidentally buying a thing you didn't need.
I can still buy it.
You can still, like, no one will stop you.
No one will stop me. You know, and
Nintendo definitely won't stop you from giving them money.
I mean, speaking of buying things, Oblivion Watch 2026 continues. I have not yet picked up Elder Scrolls Oblivion Remastered, but believe me, I'm on the lookout. As soon as that price drops, because I think over the holidays there was probably, or maybe not, I can't even remember when that game came out. I think it was out over the holidays. It dropped to maybe, I think it was like on the PlayStation Store. It was like, I think it was 35% off or something. But
oh yeah, you got to buy that.
It was something like that. Yeah. Well, see, that's the thing. I didn't buy it because I'm like, man, when am I going to play it? But then the new year came and I said, look, this has to happen here. You know?
Yeah.
I have to save Patrick Stewart.
This is his fucked up face.
Well, I would actually fail that because he does get killed right at the beginning of the game. Spoiler alert. For the 5 people on the planet that haven't played Oblivion, but yeah. So that's Oblivion Watch continues. I will keep you up to date.
Excellent. So that's it.
That's it.
All right. Cool. I will go next, I suppose. So I haven't been playing a lot of games lately. You know, I went through a bunch of stuff in the holidays. I played a lot of stuff in the holidays. I went pretty ham. And I kind of fell off gaming a little bit. I played that Is This Seat Taking game and was just bored out of my fucking mind. And I think that sort of like took the wind out of my sails. But we had the Nintendo Partner Showcase Direct, that's the full name, by the way. Nintendo Partner Showcase Direct. It's not a Nintendo Partner Showcase. It's not a Nintendo Partner Direct. It's a Nintendo Partner Showcase Direct. And for fuck's sake, it's not a Nintendo Direct. And one of the things that jumped out was Pragmata. Having seen what Pragmata is, it looked really nice. I'm saying from a visual perspective, it looked very nice. So I downloaded the demo. I talked about that last week. I downloaded the demo and didn't play it. I sat down to play the demo, and as Greg pointed out, it's very short. It took me about 22 minutes the first time I played it. Because when I played it, it splashes up your complete time. It was like 22 minutes, 23 seconds. And it tells you that you unlock some stuff. I didn't really get what it was saying it unlocked. And so I played it again. It was like, well, let me see the things. It said it unlocks some weapons and a new outfit for Hugh, which it does do that. The new weapons actually gave a little bit more texture to the demo, but I played through the demo the second time and cleared it in 11 minutes, so I cut my time in half. And the reason for that is the sort of rubbing your stomach and patting your head gameplay of hacking while shooting and dodging enemies, because there is active dodging. Creates kind of a skill barrier that I had to work through. And so once I got good at that, I was much faster at the combat, and I wasn't really at risk at any point, and I was sort of churning through the enemies. And of course, I knew where I was going to, which helped. But the game itself, at least in the demo, is pretty linear anyway. Like, there's not a ton of, exploration to be had. So getting into the demo a little bit, if you haven't played it, I assume most people listening to this saw the direct, but the basic gist of it is Hugh is a astronaut who has, due to circumstances unforeseen, ended up stuck on a moon base with a robot android of a little girl. I think she's supposed to be probably 10, somewhere in that neighborhood. Maybe a little bit younger. And they are trying to get off of this moon base. Unfortunately, it is currently unoccupied, and it is full of robots who are just there to do work. This base effectively replaced its personnel with robots. And the robots have decided, the AI running the station has decided that these two don't belong here, and that the robots are now tasked with removing them from the station. And by that I mean killing them. They are very hard to shoot. Hugh's gun does not do much damage to them. It does technically do some, but it is immeasurably small. But Diana, his robot companion, is able to hack these things and open up the exterior of them so Hugh can shoot them. What's a little bit interesting about this is Hugh always has a handgun. It has infinite ammo, but it's got a reload. So I think it's 8 shots and it reloads. And it does piss poor damage. However, there are 3 other classes of weapon that you can pick up as you go through the stage. And once you run out of ammo for them, Hugh just drops the gun. There is the demo only shows 2 of them, but there is an obvious slot for a third. The ammunition types are one of them is like a powerful close range weapon, and then one of them is a longer ranged weapon. And how that manifests in the demo, I believe, is you get a shotgun is the powerful up close. And then I can't remember what the long range weapon is, because I don't think I used it at all. I think I basically used it one time and said, this shit sucks, and tossed it. In the first run through, I think you get the net. It's an energy weapon that slows down enemies as they try to pass through it. On top of that, when you're trying to shoot the enemies, Diana is hacking them with a little maze that you have to do. So essentially, it's a 4x4 grid, and you start at one spot on the grid, and you're trying to get to a destination on the other. And in the grid, there are power-ups that increase the efficacy of the hack. But there's also things that sort of block your movement. So you're trying to get through as many power-ups as you can to get to the destination, but there are barriers in the way, and you can't cross over yourself. So you're trying to work around that. You're still being attacked while you do this hack. The hack is being done on the right-hand side of the controller on the face buttons. I think it's face buttons? Yeah. And then movement's being done with the sticks, and shooting is being done with the shoulders, and you're changing weapons with the D-pad. So you're using the whole fucking Switch 2 controller. So there, like I said, it's a little bit of rubbing your stomach and patting your head where you're trying to do the maximum hack while also avoiding enemies that are closing in on you to do especially when you're doing a boss, to do relatively powerful attacks. There's a lot of AoE stuff that it lights up on the ground, kind of like in an MMO. So it's this is the danger zone, get the fuck out of it. But there's a mini boss that is capable of doing big area damage as well that you're going to have to manage because it's in a really tight, confined space. So there's a lot of stuff going on there. But on the second playthrough, it all clicked. The first playthrough, I was kind of fumbling through it. The second one, it all made sense. The second one, you get a sniper rifle as well, which changed the game a little bit. It charges to fire, which is interesting. I can't remember what the other gun you get. You get a gun replaces the net gun. I can't remember what it is. But the other items that you can pick up is, there's an energy for crafting system. The crafting system isn't shown in the demo. But there are these yellow things on the ground, and they are, consumables that show up on the hacking prompt. And if you pass your cursor through one, you spend one of them. They have other effects beyond just making the hack more powerful. As an example, one of them that you get on the replay. So in the first playthrough, I don't remember what the consumable power up does. I just don't recall. I don't remember that it did that much. I think it just made it stronger. But the consumable on the second playthrough that you can get causes the hack to affect multiple enemies at one time. And so that means the hack will move from enemy to enemy who are in close range, which is super helpful when you're trying to shoot a lot of enemies at one time. So there is a certain amount of don't use those if you don't need them, because you don't get that many. And you can only carry 3. And so if you come up on one on the ground and you press the button to swap it, you drop whatever you've got and you pick up whatever's there. And that also means if you drop one that you've already used one of, if you go back and pick it back up, there's only 2. So there's a finite number of those things in the game, apparently. And guns are the same way. If you spend half of the rounds in the gun and drop it and pick up the other gun, it doesn't reset the current ammunition count. That gun is still half spent. So if you swap it back later, or if you expend the gun you swapped it for. And again, you can only carry one gun of each type as well. So at most, you're carrying 3 consumable weapons. I I enjoyed this game a lot. I think it's got a good sense of humor and a charm to it from the demo. The opening demo is quite funny. It is a picture of Diana lying on the floor on her stomach, drawing something on a piece of paper, just sort of like happily kicking her feet back and forth. I think she's humming. And then you start seeing like gunshots flying around her and like slamming on the ground. And eventually you see Hugh come into screen and he's shooting at robots and he's basically begging her to help. And she just responds, 1 minute. And after you shoot ones for a little bit and get through the tutorial, she eventually says that it goes to a video. She picks up the thing she's drawing and looks at it. You don't get to see it. Makes a satisfied nod. And then Hugh scoops her up. And she introduces the hacking mechanic. At which point they have fun little banter where he basically asks to see what she was drawing and she just says, nope, not right now. Maybe later. As you're going through, there's Resident Evil style, like history books, people writing letters to each other, emails, journal entries, that kind of stuff. There's one where it's a scientist who's been posted to the moon base, writing to a friend who's been posted to some other outpost in space that I guess had more action. And he's complaining about the fact that the robots do all the work and they don't talk to him, so he's bored and lonely. And after reading that, Diana asks Hugh, are you bored? And not missing a beat, he just responds, no, I've got your little chatterbox to keep me busy. And I'm like, oh, they're going to make you really like her, and then they're going to kill her. Shit. I already know what's going to happen. I already feel bad. I already feel bad.
Yeah, we were saying that right from the start. It's like, she's going to get killed, and then you're going to feel bad.
Yeah, at that point, I'm like, they are going to try to fuck you up with this. At the end of the demo, there's a big boss fight. It's a giant mech. It's got area of effect missiles that it launches that they have comments to each other about. It charges at you. It's got a gun. The boss fight's actually pretty straightforward once you understand it, but when you stun them, late in the boss fight, you find out that Diana, every time you hack, is charging up a meter, and she can use that to paralyze enemies. And that gives you basically the opportunity to put a lot of damage on them. That boss also really introduces the fact that, yes, you hack to make them vulnerable, but there are spots on enemies that are particularly vulnerable that have a multiplying effect. For this enemy, it's a pack on his back. So it teaches that a little bit, but also, in addition to, enemies will get stunned sometimes, bosses, and you can run up to them and press a button to do like effectively a quick time event, although there's no timing to it. You should get close and press the button, where he does a tremendous amount of damage in one shot. In the case of this boss, he climbs up on top of it and shoots right down into the middle of it. I really had a good time with this demo. Like, I played it and then immediately played it again because I wanted to see the new costume for Hugh. It's called, I want to say it was called like the drawing costume. And the reason or the scribble costume. And the reason for that is at the end of the demo, you get to see what Diana drew. And there's multiple in the demo. So if you only played it once, you only saw one of them. I think there's 8 different possibilities. I think it's random. I don't think it's based on what you did. I got different ones each time. One of the ones I got was the 2 of them looking at stars. And another one I got was of them doing a high five, which if you'll remember from the direct was a scene where they high five and he explains it to her. So it was her drawing them high fiving before that event happened in the story. She drew that before you high fived, which means she's from the future. I don't know. I really enjoyed it. And in case you're curious, the scribble costume, it's just his spacesuit that you have normally, except she's drawn all over it. And I'm like, oh God. Oh, they're really going for it, aren't they? They're really fucking going for it. But I liked it. I liked the banter they had back and forth. It was fun. I liked the, once I got a grip for doing 2 things at one time, I got pretty good at it, and I enjoyed the challenge. The enemies don't tend to move fast; they're a little zombie-like, but they do try to surround you, and if you're fighting a bunch of them at one time, using her hacking skills to sort of mitigate the flow of enemy movement, so you're not getting overwhelmed, actually works out super well. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, it's a really solid game, and I mean from the demo, obviously. I am sold on it. Like, I legitimately, I'm pretty sure I'm going to buy this when it comes out. Now,
how does it look and feel? Pretty good.
it looks great.
Yeah, because it looks great on the trailer. Great.
Yeah, it looks like it is one of the. Granted, it's a lot of small spaces, and it's RE. It's still RE engine, I think. That engine is super good, and it scales really well.
That's okay though. I mean, I don't mind a game being designed around, the graphical performance. I guess you could say, right? I don't mind that.
It's really fun, and I like it. It feels bad when you start, and here's what I mean when I say that. When you first start, it's very hard to get a grip on what's going on because there's a lot of stuff, and it is complicated because you are trying to do two, maybe even three distinct activities at one time. You're trying to dodge enemy attacks, you're trying to shoot enemies, and you're trying to execute the hack. But once I started to get a feel for it, and it started to flow more naturally, and I was able to, instead of just trying to execute, I was able to put strategy into it. I was able to look at what was in front of me and say, what's the best way to handle this? Now, knowing the rooms before I did it obviously helped. So when I had the opportunity to pick between the two power-ups for the hack, I knew this room is full of fucking enemies, so I made sure I had the one that does affects multiple enemies, because it would be stupid of me not to do that. But if I didn't know that, I might have picked up the one that makes the hacks more powerful, because that was super useful in the previous room. But if it does do the timing, that opens up the possibility that there is a certain amount of time attack in this game, which would be nice. Which again goes back to is this Veronica C. Schneider in child form? But it felt good. It's gotta feel its own of it. It's got some DNA from some other Capcom games there. But that's not a bad thing. It just means it's not necessarily if you're coming into this thinking third person shooter, it may not feel exactly the way you expect it to. But I really enjoyed it. I walked away thinking okay, I like her, I like him, I like the bullshit they're saying to each other. I enjoy the controls now that I've got them under control. Bad setup for that answer. I can see the tactics now, and I'm starting to try to put them together. And I housed that boss. That boss, I just absolutely whipped ass on it. I didn't even get all the story sequences in the boss fight because I just tore him to shreds. But it feels nice, and that's why I'm fairly confident that they're going to stick the landing. Are they going to make a great game around this? I don't know. But they did a good job building the mechanics and building the core of what this game is, and it from the demo, of course, I have to couch this with all that all the time. This game feels like it has an identity, and that means a lot. The game having an identity of its own, that it feels confident in what it is, has a lot of value because it tells me that they built something they like, and then they built a game around it. Rather than they built a game and they tried to come up with something that feels good in that context. It very much feels like they had mechanics they liked, and then they built the stages around them. And there's a jetpack. There is a jetpack. It's a hover pack, so it's not a true jetpack, but there is a hover pack. And you can ground boost on foot, which is nice. Good for dodging. There are active roll dodges and stuff, so there's some pretty significant motion tech that you can do to try to avoid enemy attacks. Now the only question is, do I buy the amiibo? Which there's a running joke in the NWR Discord, of which I might be the progenitor of. What does the Diana amiibo do? Answer: it creeps out guests in your house. But I'm not worried about it. We'll see. I'll make that decision after I play the game and understand what it does, and do I like the game enough to get it. And that was my case with the DK amiibo. I didn't buy the DK amiibo until after I played the game and said, I fucking love this game. I want to buy the amiibo for it. I never used it. I've never tapped that fucking amiibo. It has never happened. But I could do it. So we'll see. But yeah, I think Capcom's got a winner with this one. So yeah, if you haven't played demo, definitely give it a shot. I think it's worth exploring. John, I'd be really interested to see how you feel about it.
Yeah, I'll take a look at it. I'll take a look at the demo.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I played poorly the first time, and it only took me 22 minutes.
Yeah, I'll take a look at it.
Yeah. But playing well, 11. Like part of me wanted to try to get my demo time to under 8. I wasn't able to do it. I was like, I think there's still fat I can trim here. I think 10 was as low as I got, but I played it 3 times. I played the demo 3 fucking times. So like, yeah, it's cool. Guillaume, why don't you go next?
Sure. So I have been playing the 100 line. And listeners who know us might be wondering, like, wait, Guillaume is playing the 100 line? Isn't James playing the 100 line?
Shh, not yet.
That's a good question. How come you're not playing this, James?
Mixed conversation when it came out, and it fell off my like to-do list.
Okay, I guess I started listening to this podcast Into the Ether, where they've been 100 line pilled, and so I guess that convinced me. Plus, sometimes I know it's stupid, but like I read that the developer of the game was like, I don't know, guys, I don't think we're gonna be able to keep the lights on if we don't sell more of this thing. And sometimes that kind of talk, makes me think like, okay, I'll save your studio by purchasing one single copy of your game. But yeah, and also I thought like, well, maybe this will become a collectible at some point. I don't know. Like I've been buying a lot of physical RPGs for some reason lately. I'm fairly convinced that they can only go up in value. This has nothing to do with the game. The 100 line, what is it? Well, the reason why James would have been more likely to play it than I would have been is because it comes to us from Kazutaka Kodaka and Kodaro Ushikoshi.
Yeah.
Uchikoshi. So the first is known for the Danganronpa series of games. He's an artist and he was a writer on these games. And the second is responsible for the Zero Escape series. 2 very James-coded games. And I've never touched a Danganronpa. I'm not really interested in playing them. And Virtue's Last Reward, I played maybe a few minutes of, and that was...
Is that the third one?
That was the second one.
Okay.
And the first one, what's it called?
999.
9999. I enjoyed it, kind of, but maybe not as much as some other people.
I adored that game. I love Virtue's Last Reward, and then everything I heard about the third one, I'm like, oh, I'm staying the fuck away from that. Don't ruin my memories.
So the 100 line Last Defense Academy is the full title. Basically, you play as these students. So you play the main character, Takumi. The intro, like, he complains that like, it's always the same old routine in good old Tokyo residential projects. I wake up and like, here's my kind of surrogate little sister eating breakfast at my home. And my mom is here, and now she's going to work, and she really loves, my childhood best friend. That I'm totally just kind of like in a little sister, brother relationship with. And it's always the same old. We go to school. It's always like, is this really all there is to life? There are a few weird things when you look at the illustrations that accompany his rant. Like, it's not just the fact that he's way too insistent on the fact that like there's no funny feelings between him and his childhood best friend. There's also the fact that it looks like this Tokyo residential area is underground. There's a ceiling. There's no sky. but I guess we'll get an explanation for that later, because what happens is that they somehow get attacked by monsters. As far as they were aware, there's no such thing as monsters. There was no reason why there would be an attack. Like regularly, there is some sort of like alarm or test in the Tokyo residential area, but you just make your way to the bunkers, and eventually they say like, well, everything is fine, and you come out, and it's all good. But on that day, so they get attacked, and Takumi, how does it happen exactly? Basically meets this little egg-shaped character, Sirei, who looks like, you can see him on the cover of the game. He looks like a transparent egg, wearing a, what kind of hat is that? Not a trilby, but anyway, a hat. You can see his brain through his head, I guess. But most of his body is also his face.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got his little bow tie, and you can also see kind of a cartoon heart through him. And he's, mostly like he's kind of like a misshapen white Kirby, see-through Kirby, I guess. It's weird. So he comes out and he's like, well, you're going to have to trigger your... Fuck, I'm forgetting all the terminology, the stupid terminology in this game.
His like superpower, basically.
Yeah, hemomatosis or something.
Sure, that sounds like bullshit, they would say.
Yeah, it's the reason why he has to stab himself to trigger his superpower. It's very, again, like that. It reminds me of Persona and the whole
the
like shooting
activators
yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't believe they fucking put that in a game still. Like, it's been 20 years. I still can't believe the activators are a handgun you shoot the side of your head with.
Yep. So in this case, they stab themselves. So Takumi stabs himself. He goes through a Sailor Moon-esque transformation, but with his own blood. It's a very overt reference to Sailor Moon. And then, so he's, I guess, like, he's superpowered in that way. Like, he gains I forget what his weapon is, probably a sword. Beats the monsters. And then, I think he just passes out. And when he wakes up the next day, he's at the Last Defense Academy with a dozen other strangers. Other kids, and all the same thing happened to them. They got attacked. They were told to activate their hematosis, whatever.
Their halitosis.
So no one knows what they're doing there, but yeah, like you're in this kind of school-like area, but it's very the school-like building, but it seems very kind of like high-tech. There are machines that they're not quite sure what the machines do. There are lots of locked rooms that will be unlocked later. Eventually, there's a message throughout the school: go make your way to over here to the cafeteria. And the egg-shaped guy, Sirei, is like, okay, so you've been recruited to the Last Defense Academy. You're gonna have to defend from a constant monster invasions for 100 days. If you fail to do this, the monsters will get to something at the heart of the school that if they were to get their hands on it, it would signal the fall of the human race. What is that thing? We're not telling you. Just trust us. Also, you can't go home. We're in a weird school you've never heard of. We are in a devastated city that you don't recognize. Also, the school is surrounded by something called living flames or eternal flames. Flames that somehow would only keep the monsters out, although not very well because they keep invading anyway. But they also keep you in. They can only be taken out with special fire extinguishers. But if you were to get into a car and try to drive through the flames, they only affect biological material. The car would be fine. The people in it would burn.
Why did they feel like they needed to give this much backstory?
Well, that's the thing about this game. It keeps throwing weird stuff into the story, and the characters, like most of the writing, I will say, is the characters reacting to all the batshit fucking crazy stuff that's happening. Like, they're always constantly kind of like poking holes into like, wait, what? Like, how does that make sense? Like, wasn't that in, are we in a battle royale kind of situation? Are you going to ask us to, kill each other? And like, one girl's like, please tell us it's a battle royale situation because I really, really want to kill other people. She's got issues, but like, as you discover,
is she the one whose tongue is hanging out in the key art for the game?
Yeah, and who's got like teeth kind of tattooed over her lips. Yeah, she's deranged. She's when I say she's deranged, I mean she's Jared Leto, Suicide Squad first movie deranged. Because he literally had a tattoo, I think, on his forehead or something. I've never seen that movie, but I've seen the promo shots. So she's that type of deranged. Yeah. Yeah, so there's a lot of that. There's a lot of acknowledging, like, these characters live in a universe that is aware of our pop culture very clearly because they can't stop, talking about it. There's like a reference to midichlorians at some point because someone's blood gets tested or something. And yeah, there's tons of. They refer to like tons of anime that people of, I guess, my age would be aware of or have seen if they were into anime at all. Like, is this a what's it called? Gantz scenario? Like,
Gantz, yep.
Yeah, she makes a reference to like tight leather, whatever. Like, are we in a kind of like a limbo state where the people who are alive can't see us and we have to protect them from unseen horrors or etc.
They do wear very, very tight outfits in Gantz.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. It's very horny. So that's the game. There are so far the game story is progressing pretty linearly. I'm not seeing any kind of like, I can make choices in how I spend a day in a kind of Persona-like way, because you can decide to spend time with a certain character to raise up certain attributes, or you can decide to go explore around, you take one of those special fire extinguishers, you can go explore a little bit around the school, maybe find materials that you're going to be able to use to improve your moves and your items and stuff like that. When you explore around the school, by the way, it kind of looks like you're playing a board game. You're not rolling dice, but you've got like two cards, numbered 1 through 6, and you can use one or the other. Like, you go around on a board.
Weird.
But I guess the main gameplay element, the combat is kind of a light strategy RPG. This is nothing. As I say this as someone who's never actually finished a Fire Emblem game, this will not challenge a Fire Emblem player.
Oh, okay.
It's not really challenging me, actually. It's closer in terms of strategy to something like 13 Sentinels, where...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
where it's just there because they had to have gameplay in the game.
Yeah, there are some enemies that are stronger than others. There's a bunch of enemies that have like 1 hit point, and you've got an array of moves that can hit several squares on the grid at once. And so there's a lot of kind of like ground control that you're doing, crowd control that you're doing while also trying to take out the harder enemies, and you're trying to protect the generators that I guess keep the eternal flames going. I'm not sure. The thing that's protecting your school. It's weird because oh yeah, I forgot to mention this. If you die, if your characters die, it's very unlike Fire Emblem in that way. They get revived after the battle because they've got, I guess, 3D printers that can just make a new one of you.
Sick.
And there is a meter that fills up as you get hit or as you hit enemies, and that unlocks a bunch of devastating moves. It can go, like if you get 100% of the bar filled, then you can do the move once, and then it can go to up to 300%. And so there's a lot of managing that overdrive bar. That's a lot of what the combat is about. If one of your character gets killed, that fills up the bar considerably. And also, like, you get graded at the end of a battle from probably, I guess, D to S, but I've never actually gone lower than an A. So, yeah, you get graded up to S. And if you get killed, if your characters get killed, you actually get more points. For some reason, it's called, I forget the exact name, something like a great kill is when one of your guys gets killed. So you get more points for that. So it is weird.
It's so weird.
Yeah. I'm enjoying it, I think. Like, at first, for a bit, I was a little bit annoyed by all the constant pop culture references, but at the same time, I'm very annoyed when people in a vampire movie don't know that vampires exist, or zombie movie don't know that zombies are a thing in pop culture. Like, not that they exist, but like the fucking, what's it called? Dark something on Netflix? Whatever. Or most zombie movies, like they act like they've never heard of the concept of a zombie.
What is a zombie?
Right. But the movie is set in 2025, and they're like, "What's a zombie?" Right.
Right. Yeah. Like they just can't conceive. Like the dead are walking the earth again. What? I've never heard of such a concept.
Never
ever,
heard of this concept.
Yeah. So I think I prefer when my characters are aware that they're in a battle royale type situation than if they've never heard of, like, then when the thing that you're playing or watching acts as if like, oh, this is a totally original idea that I'm doing right here, but it doesn't seem to be reinventing the kids stuck in a school battling monsters genre. I don't know if you can call it a genre. Forced to play sadistic games or whatever. Like, like it doesn't look like it's going to quite reinvent it, but at least it's acknowledging that that's an established genre and it's part of it. And I guess I'm looking forward to seeing like what's the slight wrinkle that this game is putting on this theme. So this game might be called the 100-Line Academy because you have to defend the school for 100 days. I'm at about like day 40. Like it takes a while to it's a long game. But it might also be called the 100-Line Academy because there are, I think, 100 different endings that you can get. But from what I understand, most of these endings actually are when you do a kind of a New Game Plus kind of thing. And they're some of them are if you... At that point, once you finish the game once, I think I will be able to make some decisions that affect the course of the story. But right now, it's absolutely linear. But yeah, like once I finish it, I think I will be able to change some things, get a different ending. But I think that most of the endings are actually game overs. Like, oh,
right,
you decided to sleep in instead of, going to battle. You all, fell to, you all died.
Everyone
to the monsters.
died.
Yeah, the end. But yeah, anyway, I'm looking forward to seeing what more this game has to up its sleeve. it's not a bad kind of gameplay loop, like I am enjoying spending some time at the school trying to min-max my my time trying to like if I go, this game is right now is forcing me to go explore around the school and wants me to go a certain place. I better go around the long way so that I can grab as much materials as I can to fully upgrade my characters once I get back to the school, things like that. Like, and even though the strategy aspect is not especially complex, like I do enjoy kind of taking my time. Like, okay, like what's the best way to dispose of all these enemies, and like trying to strategize a little bit. I'm playing on the normal difficulty. I guess maybe like if you don't care about that, you want to play on the story difficulty where I don't even know if you're going to have to play through those segments. And if you really like strategy RPGs, I would recommend not going with the normal difficulty. Like you probably want something with a little bit more teeth. Anyway, so I'll probably talk about this again. I talked about it for 20 minutes already. I'm sorry about that.
You're fine.
But it's a big game.
You reminded me that this game exists, and I went to check. It is in fact on my wish list, and I was waiting for a sale, and I'm sure I've missed many sales at this point.
Well, maybe not as many as you would think, because I had also been waiting for a sale. Eventually, I got one on the physical copy, so I jumped on it. But yeah, like I don't think that there's been like a kind of a big like 50% off yet. Probably more like 20%.
Okay. Well, I mean that's not nothing, but
yeah. Very quickly, I guess one more game that is kind of interesting to talk about. I played Battle Axe. I played Battle Axe. It's a title that means nothing to you, of course, because it's so generic and it's so Battle Axe. Like, what the fuck is that? So, remember, James, do you remember The Last Takedown? When I talked about...
I do remember The Last Takedown.
Oh, okay, so you know where I'm going with this. Maybe.
Maybe.
It's the same developer.
Oh.
And it's for the same system.
Oh.
Or The Last Takeover? The Takeover? What the fuck is it called? I need to check out.
The Last Takeover...
No, okay, The Takeover.
The Takeover,
There's no
yes.
last.
Yes, okay.
I should have come in more prepared than this.
I knew what you were talking about. You're talking about the...
Wait, no, that's a different game. What game am I thinking of? I think that their games might have this problem in general.
Help me.
Where they're very...
Battle Axe on Steam. No, this looks like the Takeover art, but you're thinking about Final Vendetta.
Final Vendetta, thank you.
Yes.
Right. Let's start over. Scratch everything. I'm going to leave this in
that whole
because
segment.
it's it's very stupid, and so some people will enjoy it. But Battle Axe, if I tell you, James...
Yes.
What was it called?
Final Vendetta.
Final
Revenge.
Vendetta. Do you remember what that's about?
Vague.
Isn't this the one that had like Bronson in it, basically?
I don't
like Clint
believe
Eastwood
so.
and that sort of, it was just all those old 80s. It wasn't that one.
It's a pixel art brawler that's 80s-ish, but I don't remember much about it beyond that. Is I'm missing something?
90s-ish.
Well,
very much 90s-ish, because first of all, that game had, like, in its title screen, had Biv Bev DeVoe ripped off. Like, the beat of that Poison song was going on. And it is an actual, factual... It's a Neo Geo game.
Yes.
So Final Vendetta, Neo Geo game, available on the Switch, but you could pay hundreds of dollars for an actual Neo Geo cartridge.
As you do.
Yeah. So Battle Axe is the same fucking thing. Except that it's not a side-scrolling brawler, but it's from the same developer. It's got beautiful art, and it's more of a gauntlet-like.
It looks stunning.
a Gauntlet-like with very detailed graphics. It doesn't look like NES Gauntlet for sure. It looks freaking gorgeous, but it is about like 3 levels long. It's got a mechanic where you have to some people that you can go rescue. A little bit like Zombies Ate My Neighbors. Like you just go around and you go rescue neighbors. Except that in this case, sometimes they will have names that you recognize, like Jules Watchum, and I forget what other developer I saw on there. Also, like, you rescue them, but it's not required to finish a level, unlike Zombies Ate My Neighbor. They're just there for points. You play as an assortment, like either 2 gnomes or some sort of elf. I don't know. The elf, the woman, is some sort of thief character. She's good with the melee attacks. One of the gnomes is, or dwarves, is an old guy, and he's good with the with shooting magic. And the other guy, I guess, is in the middle. He's kind of like, he can do a little bit of melee, he can do a little bit of shooty. Yeah. Anyway, so you've got the choice between 3 characters, and you go around these maze-like environments, and you try to go and find the exit. And it is pretty hard. It is co-op. That's why I got it. So Karen and I are playing through it. I did see some reviews online that said it's very short. I don't think it's going to be very short for us, because I think that the co-op is actually making the game tougher for us. Because the graphics, as I said, beautiful, but quite zoomed in when compared to a Zelda, to Link to the Past. And also it does this thing where the screen scrolls with you, but it starts scrolling when you're, 2/5, maybe 1/4 of the way to the side of the screen. You know what I mean? Like when you're almost at the edge of the screen before the camera starts scrolling for you. And so you see very little of what's ahead of you, actually. And you've got 4 or 5 life points in your life bar. And there are a lot of traps that can feel unfair when you just, see them at the last second. And also enemies that can be there. And again, like, you don't have time to react, because they just popped up in your face, because again, the camera is a little bit too slow to show you what's in front of you. I don't know if it's the same case, if the same thing happens when you're playing solo, but when you're playing co-op, it's an issue. And you're getting 2 lives and that's it. At least, yeah. So once you get game over, it's all the way back to the beginning. Like, it's got that old school ethos, I guess. Same thing that Final Vendetta had, by the way. Like, it didn't give you infinite continues or anything like that. You had to eventually manage to make your way to the ending legit. I think I would recommend it, but I would only recommend it if you paid about the same price that I did for it. Like, I would not pay full price, like $25 or $30 for it. I certainly would not pay $200 for a Neo Geo cartridge. But yeah, like, if you can get it for 50% off, like, that's probably a good deal. It's nice to look at, and it's pretty fun. But it is a kind of an arcade kind of maze action game. So you need to know what you're getting into, I guess. Like, if you're into that type of gameplay, the Gauntlet then yeah, go for it. And I've played a bunch of other stuff, but nothing really. Everything I can just talk about next time.
Cool. All right, Greg, why don't you take us home for new business?
Sure, yeah. So I did, having played the demo for Final Fantasy VII Remake, I did get the retail game and been playing it for a bit. Probably somewhere in the middle, I just beat Midgar's equivalent of the Rancor. So, yeah, other people who are more familiar with the content of Final Fantasy VII will probably have a better idea where I am than I do. But that gives you the idea where I am. But yeah, there's not a lot of unknowns about this. Obviously, it's a game that's been out for since 2020, right, on PS4, and had a few different releases and versions. And so I've heard plenty about it, read plenty about it over the years, and so it wasn't any real surprises here. That is very sort of kind of cinematic, that way, that a lot of the, not just the, a lot of the cutscenes, but, a lot of the time spent, kind of is being kind of breadcrumbed around this very, richly constructed, version of, that world from the original Final Fantasy VII, well, specifically this bit of it, Midgar, from the original Final Fantasy VII, and, kind of really, with the graphics, that were available late in the PS4 generation, to do it, to sell the scale of it, I think is a lot of it, this idea of, this vast kind of city that's, kind of elevated, and then you've got the kind of undercity where, all the non-privileged people have to live. And it's, sort of you get plenty of these moments where a character is like, oh, right, let's go over here. And you gradually, kind of, making your way through busy streets, and the cameras naturally kind of going to to show you how the enormity and all the detail and everything that they've created here and all that. So that's definitely been a lot of the demo portion is kind of like sort of like you got a Bond opening to a Bond movie, let's have an action sequence to kind of get it going. But then when you settle in with the main game after the demo, it's a lot of, like I said, getting toured around the world, and then obviously being, some things are tutorialized in the demo, obviously just to have the action, but more of the kind of worrying about equipment and upgrades and all that, the more kind of actual RPG stuff has to be dealt with and all that. So, it's not anything that kind of, again, other than what you'd expect, but certainly in terms of how well it's holding up on Switch 2, been splitting it, between the TV and portable, more portable than TV, but I try and get some time in with the TV because I think it definitely does, benefit somewhat. There are, I guess, if you think back to original Switch, certainly there's always going to be, certain trade-offs that are unavoidable. Obviously, the raw output is always going to be lower on portable, but I think sometimes, there were a number of games you could say, where the trade-offs worked out better portably. Certainly those, Link's Awakening and, Echoes of Wisdom, for instance, those frame rate hiccups weren't as bad, portably, and you could they were easier to ignore there, for instance. Here, it does seem like probably the trade-offs, it's still, pretty good portably, but I think the trade-offs benefit, go to the TV version, because it just seems like there's, obviously I assume there's a certain amount of upscaling going on here, and it's just like the upscaling seems to struggle a little more with the portable stuff. I'm sure plenty of people might know that, I think, at least relative to the PS5 game, for instance, one of the upgrades to the PS5 version of Final Fantasy VII Remake is the hair on everybody, right? And so, it's a bit simpler, probably more like it was on PS4 on the Switch 2 version. But the other thing about the hair, specifically Cloud's, with the weird, shape to it and the sort of fuzziness of it, it seems to give the upscaler, more issues in portable mode. You get this weird, crosshatch, sort of dithered thing happening on the portable mode, so it's and again, it's not like these are things that are completely foreign to the docked experience, but it's more apparent in portable mode. So, there's definitely some value to be had in seeing things, and especially with the level of detail and the scale that I've already talked about. It is, something that you'd like to see on the big screen. But again, for me personally, if it was just that, if I was just holding it over for when I could get in front of the TV, I'd be spending, it'd be longer than I'd like to get through the story, especially again, because it's very much a cinematic experience. That's what it's going for. There's not a lot of, exploration and stuff. There's times where, if you kind of take the initiative to like, well, why don't I go left instead of right, and just for a moment see if there might be essentially a treasure chest with an item in it, or some crates that you could slash open for some items, or a little thing or the other. But generally speaking, this is very confined. That, and again, that's something I kind of knew going in. I guess the main thing I would say that's been somewhat pleasing so far is the fact that when you get the major battles, the boss battles and stuff, they seem to have a nice balance, at least for me, of difficulty and kind of complexity. In terms of nothing terribly challenging, that's for sure. And again, I mean, if you were more familiar with FF7 and therefore probably more effective in what you're doing in the menu part of these battles, because again, as we've already mentioned, it's kind of a hybrid of real-time kind of action and still building up active time battle sort of points for discrete menu-based actions for spells and buffs and all that kind of thing. If you know all those spells and abilities and what's a good kind of combination of materia to have for different characters or whatever, you probably find these things a lot easier than myself. I've never played the original version of FF7 through. But even for someone like me, it's not particularly challenging or anything, but there's enough challenge there that it feels like, okay, you play a boss battle once and you've got like an assess ability, which is kind of like scanning something in Metroid Prime, where it's like, okay, we've got some weaknesses, we've got some things about how this particular boss behaves, it might have multiple segments, and then always if you don't beat it the first time, or just like if it goes into like kind of a second phase or something, you can start to think, okay, yeah, there's a more efficient way to kind of tackle this, maybe focus on a particular segment, or, focus on using particular abilities as one character. Like for it, a lot of it revolves around this kind of stagger bar that builds up, where, rather than just taking health away, you can kind of build up this bar that once it's complete, it gets staggered, it's stunned, in which case you can then perhaps save up some of the more powerful like limit break abilities and things, which can do enormous amounts of damage on some of these bosses when they're in the stagger state. So there's enough sophistication there, that you feel like you get better, you learn something, there's efficiencies to be found, but it's not so much that it's like overwhelming, because it's quite a lot to think about when you've got to, you're dodging and attacking and all this stuff in real time. But meanwhile, you've got to keep an eye on, these active time gauges and, what sort of menu based things you're going to be getting into. So it's all of that stuff has balanced out relatively well for a neophyte like me so far. I guess we'll see, how it concludes at the end, but in terms of, does it get any more difficult, how much more difficult, we'll have to see. But yeah, it's interesting with, of course, the Nintendo Direct broadcast showing the next game, Rebirth, for Switch quite soon in June, whether that will hold up as well, because obviously this was originally a PS4 game. It is a lot more confined in scope. The idea of, having much, much more open exploration, which is, clearly you could see from that footage, but also just, reading reviews and things when that game came out in 24. It does seem like the compromises and the trade-offs might be more apparent, when you get to that game. But, obviously, what you can tell from the footage so far, there's a few things there that are immediate in terms of just some cutting back on certain extra, kind of environmental flourishes, whether it be outside, it might be, extra kind of plant life and details and all that. Inside, it might be like extra clutter on coffee tables and furniture and stuff. But, the cutbacks in that regard can be seen quite clearly. But I guess, what it actually takes away from the experience, we'll have to see, because it definitely seems like it's some kind of a whole other step of like challenging compared to this one. But yeah, that's a way off yet, whether I'll be left, eager to get out in the big wide world once I actually see the end of this one. That itself is yet to be determined.
Fair enough. All right, we're going to take a break here. When we come back, we're going to do some listener mail. So stay tuned. We are back with listener mail. This is like our first normal formatted episode in a while. But before we get to that, we're not back with listener mail. Fuck you. Next week, y'all haven't even emailed us that we haven't done it. We haven't done our top 5. So next week we're going to do our top 5. Why am I saying this out loud? Why don't we just do it? Well, I'm doing this so we have to do it. I'm taking away our ability to not do it. We're going to do it next week. So that's it. That's a settled matter of fact. Are we going to do predictions the week after? I have no comment at this time.
New Castlevania game.
Okay, sure. I'll take it.
Predicting
Could it be a new collection? Or a new game?
No, actually a new game.
Okay. So is it a racing game? That would be awesome. Are you telling me you wouldn't play Dracula Kart?
Well, the Konami Crazy Races, was a little
but
bit
that's
way.
got lots of things in it. I just want a canonical castle. That's the other part. It has to be canonical. It has to be canonical to the struggle of the Belmonts against Dracula.
Can it be with a K? So it's canonical Konami Crazy Races.
I'm open to the conversation on it. I do like the idea of a Belmont. I'm going to call him Otto Belmont for the pun, because Konami would definitely do that. Deciding he's got to take down Dracula this time, but the only way to do it is to race. And so he's got to win. He's got to win this race, at which point Dracula will be caught out in the sun or something. I don't know. Because I guess all the races would have to be at night too. Ooh, interesting. All right. Anyway, we're making good games again, and we can't do that. We're here to talk about bad games. So emails go to rfn@nintendoworldreport.com. That is rfn@nintendoworldreport.com. rfn@nintendoworldreport.com. The first email, I will read because it's very fast. Hey guys, guess what just shipped? Guess what? I have an email saying just shipped. That's right, the Virtual Boy. It is merely 2 days away from entering my home for better or worse. Increasing the number of Virtual Boys in this house by 100%.
I haven't been able to pull the trigger on it yet. I can't bring myself.
Yeah, I can't do it.
I'm on the fence because I want to hear more about, what first of all, not thrilled with the fact that there isn't a 2D, option. Because again, some of these games.
Don't you have your Labo VR kit? I mean, just use that.
Some of these games, would be, like I said, God forbid you actually like the pinball game, Galactic Pinball, and you wanted to play it for a while to get better scores, you're not going to do that, sticking your head in the headset, I don't think. Well, I'm not, anyway.
Not on the bus.
So,
that's the only place I'm going to use it.
I guess it's relatively sort of well, kind of set up for like a flight, isn't it? Because you can have it on the tray table.
not on current flights. That next seat's 8 inches in front of your face.
Fair point. No, but the other thing for me is if it's gotta be stereoscopic 3D, how well does it actually imitate that effect from the old Virtual Boy, and
that's fair.
Which of the Switch models actually does it the best? Is it better with the OLED screen, or is it better with the the Switch 2 like HDR somehow, or I don't know. The 50 hertz thing with the Switch 2 screen we talked about before, because it had a 50 hertz refresh rate for that peculiar kind of LED technology that it for producing the graphics originally, so it might might play more smoothly and look smoother on Switch 2 with the VRR and all that. I've got to wait and see all these. I want to hear more about this stuff before I kind of decide.
I accept that this is a terrible idea. Like I don't even debate this. Like I went in knowing this is a terrible idea. And my follow on to that is, but it's my terrible idea, and that's okay. Like I'm embracing the fact that I am setting this money on fire. And if I happen to get fun out of it, that's great. I did a good thing. But like I will spend more money on a less good idea some point in the next 6 months. That's just the way it works. So I'll just accept that this is a thing I shouldn't have bought that I did buy. And at a minimum, I'll get to talk about it on the show. This is Wappy Dog. This is Wappy Dog, where it's like, look, I'm buying this because I could talk about it on the show. It is a terrible idea. But this is better than Wappy Dog. This is Wappy Dog was a worse idea than this.
Well, the one thing I'll say, because there have been impressions, because Nintendo did see fit to provide, the kind of experience for people, the various, events that went on both, over here and in America, for, the journalists and whatnot to have a look at the, alongside stuff like Resident Evil 9 and Pragmata. They also have a look at the Virtual Boy game. But of course, the difference, for you, James, is you have the real hardware. You've played it before. You know kind of what it's meant to look like. So
yes,
I do think what you have to say about it will be more informative than, a lot of people's kinds of ideas about it.
I can set them up on a table next to each other with the same game going and bounce between them. God. How does my 30-year-old Virtual Boy compare to a thing trying to emulate a Virtual Boy? God, I'm going to have to do that for the show too.
And I mean, let's just say if I don't want to go down in history like there's a million of them with the Wii here. But, if it should be the case that, in fact, you can't get hold of the Virtual Boy full-on headset recreation thing by the time I've heard what you've had to say, I think somehow I'll find the will to carry on without it.
But that wasn't one of the email we were going to talk about this week, but we will talk about the Virtual, but probably next week. I didn't, it's one of those things that kind of crept up on me. Like the Virtual Boy does.
Doesn't that just because I saw some like retro stuff about the Virtual Boy. There's like that advert where it's like it's got legs, it walks in America. Yeah. Like this is how they advertise. Like vaguely reminiscent of the movie Hardware. If anyone's ever seen that, like what? Oh I know it was tough. I know it was hard to try and sell that machine, but I don't think the fact that it's going to become ambulatory and like affix itself to your face against your will was really the way to do it.
I think that's the perfect way to do it. I think it gets the point across symbolically in a way that literalism never could. Like it is more on the nose than being on the nose. But we've got one email this week, and you're probably thinking, wow, they've already just accepted they can't get through more than one email. What absolute failures. Well, you'll understand when we do this email why. This email was a little bit broader than the average question. So John, did you say you were going to read it?
Sure. Dear RFN crew, assemble a game-focused direct-style presentation in the format of Sakurai's recent Kirby Air Riders duology, or his Smash Brothers reveals, etc. The task is straightforward. You need a game, and you need a host. The host certainly could be associated with the game's production, but they do not have to be. Similarly, you are not constrained by time or space. If you want to put together a direct retroactively for a game in the past, by all means. Just combine one speaker on a camera for 45 to 60 minutes, explaining a game in detail for the purpose of that game's commercial promotion. You may also choose to have Sakurai's in-office staff laughter if desired.
This shouldn't even need to be said, but I forgot to put it in the email, so that's fair. GX writes, this is possibly the most GX email possible.
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, yes, it was. I have a relatively elaborate answer, so I don't want to go first because I don't want to like fire all the guns right out of the gate.
I mean, I certainly don't have. I mean, you actually wrote things down for this, but I can't help but think. I think the one thing that would have really benefited from this type of format, I guess, would have been something like, Tony Hawk's Ride, for example. 45 to 60 minutes.
The Tony Hawk Ride Direct.
The Tony Hawk Ride Direct, where you have 45 to 60 minutes of Tony Hawk waxing philosophical about how this game is the absolute pinnacle of everything that he has wanted to have in a Tony Hawk game, including an actual skateboard.
You think it'd be a lot like, some QVC type of thing, where, you've just got somebody
really
constantly sort of holding the physical product.
Yes.
Just
really
look at it.
good.
Look at it.
That's
Why haven't
really
you dialed the number already?
Oh, that's really good. Yeah.
We had
like
the
my
Animal
mom
Crossing.
winds up buying it.
Oh yeah, we had the Pocket Camp Direct, so you don't have to have it on a stage or in an office. You can do it outside.
No.
The Pocket Camp Direct happened outside of a fucking camper van. You could do whatever you want. There's no rules.
Yeah.
It's the Tony Hawk Ride Direct is menacing.
It is. It is menacing. Absolutely. I don't know where you would have it. I mean, Tony Hawk has been all over the world, but I think you would have to have it at the very least at the very top of one of those massive half pipes that he does like his 720s
on the ride board with no wheels,
60s or whatever. Yeah. I mean, you could, there's just a lot there. And, you could have like Bam Margera come in or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, you could just do a lot. There's 45 minutes is a long time when you're talking about a fake skateboard game and a fake skateboard.
Having him go down the ramp on a thing with no wheels would be extremely funny. Now, he would die. He would fucking die.
Yeah, he would completely crater out at the bottom. And faceplant, but that's the first thing that comes to mind for me.
That's how long are we going?
I think 45 minutes is more than enough.
But is it not yet enough?
Well, it really depends, how much of the cast of Jackass you have on this presentation, really. You could actually
be
do
an
a little bit of a crossover.
an entire Jackass movie.
Yeah.
Let's say it's the entire cast of the first Jackass movie.
Yeah. Well,
how many minutes is that? How many extra minutes over the 45 does that buy you?
I'd say at least a half hour. At least a half hour.
Including or without the penis puppetry.
Well, yeah, or somebody getting picked up by a crane in a porta potty and then turned upside down. So the entire contents
but they've got a Tony Hawk Ride controlling the crane.
Yeah.
So the person in the porta potty is the safest person on earth because that crane will never get them.
Yeah, and you could have them, take the Tony Hawk Ride skateboard and try water skiing with it and stuff like that. You could have them do stuff like that, and then have someone throw things at them from a boat.
Yeah,
alongside
throw
pumpkins at them or something.
Trying to play baseball with it.
Yep.
Oh yeah, but the baseballs are actually just being fired directly at their crotch. Yeah, no, you're on pace. So this is really more about like Tony Hawk Underground Ride than it is Tony Hawk Ride.
Yeah. It has a
which
little
is
bit
a
of
game
an edge,
we never got.
But I think it works. I think it works in the format.
Well, see, the problem is that Tony Hawk Ride already had an edge, which is why I watched two people get injured trying to demo it at E3. Now, the fact that they put it on a platform that was almost 2 feet high, so if you fell, you just fucking fell to the floor from like 2 feet up, probably not smart.
Well, that's how you
Probably
encourage
not
people to
smart.
not fuck up. You're like, okay, if you fall off from this, you're going
If
to
you
hurt
can
yourself.
dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The problem is people couldn't dodge wrenches,
Yeah.
so they just kept falling and twisting their ankle on the way down. Just a terrible. That's actually worse than when Sega had their Kinect game and they put you in a plexiglass tube that had no ventilation in it. And so people would go in there and just turn bright fucking red because the game was just about running in place.
Yeah.
It's like, Sega, are you stupid?
Yeah, it's like Valheim,
Yes!
you know, you can build a house, but make sure you put a chimney on it, you know?
Right. Yeah. That was actually worse because it's like, there's no way you didn't have people just fall. All you have to do is take it off the platform and put it on the floor in front of the platform. Sega couldn't deal with the fact they had built plexiglass tubes. That was too late. You guys have had all week to take it off the fucking platform and have said nay. God, the Tony Hawk Ride Direct is dark. It's really dark.
Mhm.
Like, it's, fuck. I like the idea of the Hawkman trying to sell that piece of shit, though.
Yeah.
It's terrible. It's terrible. I don't think you could put together 45 minutes of B-roll of somebody playing that game and not looking like a complete fuck up. Like, I'm not convinced you could put together enough. How short can your segments be between cuts and it still seem convincing that the game is playable? Like, if it's a bunch of clips that are sub 2 seconds, people are going to catch on.
Mm-hmm.
Is it 10 seconds? Is 10 seconds of consistent gameplay long enough? I feel like even that's cutting
I think it's enough as long as you have some sort of Limp Bizkit style song playing underneath it. You know, like the quick cuts and distraction where they don't actually as little contiguous gameplay as you can possibly.
You're gonna have to because people are gonna die. But also, don't show anybody on the board because they're gonna look like they're gonna fall every single time you show them.
Yeah.
What's your B-roll? Like we have Johnny Mosley Mad Tricks as our example here. Like that's the extreme, where they just have a bunch of shots of San Francisco with bad snow effects on top of it.
Yeah.
Where are you setting this?
I mean, I think a pretty obvious one, and I'm almost kind of embarrassed. It's a little bit tame, but you know, like skydiving is an obvious one with the Tony Hawk's Ride skateboard strapped to your feet. So that when you actually land, you can't land properly, and you just break both of your legs.
So
but it's edgy though. It's edgy. That's the whole thing.
You're very close to
bro.
What I had in mind, which is I'm gonna skate down Mount Everest.
We're thinking. I like it. I like the way you think.
And they've just like CG superimposed Tony Hawk on top of Mount Everest with a Steve-O standing. I'm gonna go down Mount Everest, Tony. I don't think you should do that.
It's
and
like
then it's just like
on top of Mount Average. That's what we're really talking about.
And then it's just like bad, like imposed effects of him green screens, like imposed on top of Mount Everest going down it with this Lambert text. Do not actually do this. Fuck, this is already better than the entire marketing campaign for the Tony Hawk Ride board. Which I can't believe that's a real thing. I still can't believe that's a real thing.
That's what I was going to say. Like, just with my side note, I'm almost like it's so ridiculous that I feel like I have to experience it.
It's baffling because for those of you who didn't experience this, because it's pretty old now. So this was like towards the end of the Tony Hawk game popularity. And so Activision, because Activision was also seeing the steam come out of their sales for all the fucking Guitar Hero stuff, and Band Hero, and Skylanders, decided they needed new plastic crap. And that new plastic crap was the Tony Hawk Ride board. And it was essentially, the one I played was an Xbox, but I think it came out for all the platforms. An Xbox controller with motion sensor in the shape of a skateboard, but with no wheels on it. So it just sat on the ground, and it was rounded at the bottom, so you could tilt back and forward and side to side. And there was a little like motion sensor on the side so that you could like run your foot along the side like you're skating. And it had buttons and stuff on the side of it you could use to interact with menus. The problem with it was wasn't so much the technology. Like, it did detect you leaning forward and back and side to side, and it did detect you kicking to go faster. The problem is it's almost impossible to stay balanced on that thing because it's not the size of a skateboard. It's like half size of a skateboard. And if you have normal human adult feet, they don't fit on it, so you basically end up just falling off constantly. It's just a terrible product all around. John, I encourage you to consider acquiring a Tony Hawk ride.
I'll think about
the board, but
yeah.
It's bad. It's real bad. And when I say people were falling off at E3, I mean everyone was falling off it, and like to the point where people were walking by going like, "This is a dangerous place to be standing because someone will fall on you."
Yeah.
They had chances to stop this, is what I'm saying, and they didn't. In fact, there's 2 games for the Tony Hawk, because I want to say like the sequel to Downhill Jam also used it. Also used the board.
I think so, yeah.
Wow.
But,
I didn't know that.
But like, I can't fathom playing either of them because they both suck.
Yeah.
Because the board's bad. The board's real stinky. But the idea of it getting its own direct is dark. It's kind of like the sequel to the Labo Direct, but worse.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. So Tony's hosting himself, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. No, I mean, that's not a critique. I was just wanted to confirm.
No, Tony's hosting himself. I mean,
okay.
You know, I don't know if he'd be the greatest host, but I mean, he's what you're going to have, which is pretty much. I think that's very on brand for Tony Hawk's ride. So, I think he could handle it because in the year 2026, I have seen the Hawkman recently. While I was on my staycation, and we would have Prices Right on. It would come between the Life Alert ad, which, if you're not familiar with that, is a product for old people who live on their own that they wear around their neck to press a button in case they fall and, quote, cannot get up. And a life insurance ad was the Hawkman himself selling fish oil for my joints as I get older. I can believe it. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, have you seen what's the Ric Flair ad that's out there? What is it for?
The one for the car insurance? Yeah.
Yeah, the car insurance one. Yep.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's fucking terrible. Why is LA Knight in it? He shouldn't be in this ad.
Oh man, I haven't seen that one.
Oh yeah, there's a new one. He's in it. I don't know why. But yeah, Ric Flair's in that ad, and Ric Flair looks like he fell out of an airplane recently. Not historically, which also happened.
Yeah, I mean,
he looks like he was in an airplane crash again.
And it would be cool if he fell out of an airplane with a Tony Hawk ride skateboard strapped to his feet. That would be cool.
I would like to see Ric Flair fall out of an airplane with a Tony Hawk ride skateboard. You are correct. Yeah. You nailed it.
Yeah.
We brought it back. We're there. I'm sold. I'm sold on your vision. 45 minutes slow-mo of Ric Flair falling out of an airplane while somebody in the bottom corner of the screen tries to sell me on the ride board.
Woo!
Honey, did you hear that? What is that noise?
What's that noise? And then Ric Flair comes in. Well, the thing is, Ric Flair, he could do that and not break his legs because the guy can take a bump. I mean, even at his age. I mean, come on.
Well, because his body's 80% liquor by volume at this
Pretty
point.
Much, yeah.
God, we're wishing harm on an old man. I don't know that I've said enough olds.
Yeah, I'm not wishing harm on him.
You're wishing him to fall out of an airplane. I'm going to say that classifies as harm.
I'm saying he's going to fall out of an airplane, but I mean it's going to be a very well coordinated stunt, and he's going to have. You know, it's all promotional. James, get with it.
Well,
come on, it's
well, like if there's anything I trust Ric Flair to do at 83 is well coordinated stunts.
Yeah.
Wasn't his retirement? Wasn't fucking Jeff Jarrett in his retirement match?
I think it was him and Jay Lethal against Jeff Jarrett. I can't remember who. Anyways, we digress. We digress.
I just my thought is Jay Lethal, respect yourself. This is the answer to that. All right, Guillaume, it's direct time. You're putting on the February direct. People expect it to be a banger. They expect Nintendo to announce a bunch of shit, but you're not necessarily doing that. What are you doing?
I really don't know. I was trying to think at first, like probably not the February direct. I was thinking of maybe Actually, maybe that would work. Maybe a direct for the new GameCube game that they're adding to the GameCube NSO. They're bringing back the bongos because they're bringing back Donkey Konga. And so we get a 45-minute presentation. Like, Nintendo Direct, maybe, but I feel like, I don't know, I was thinking about it, I was like, this is more of a treehouse kind of situation thing.
A DK Bongo Direct, though, sounds really good.
Yeah, and like, who could present it? I'm torn, because there could be, like, what's funnier? Like, a dude in a Donkey Kong costume just going like, with subtitles?
That's
just
pretty
like
good.
The whole time.
That's pretty good.
That could be good, or they could go for like the celebrity get, and again, like, we can travel through time in this question. So Jane Goodall maybe could be lend her credibility to
wait, hold on. Why not both?
Man.
Why
yeah,
not
sure.
both?
Jane Goodall and a dude in a Donkey Kong costume.
It's the real Donkey Kong, and she's going to do analysis on him.
I'm trying to find. I'm on IMDb right now. I'm trying to find. Yeah, okay. And also, beloved actor Matthew Broderick, because he played in that Project X movie where he was saving a chimp from like some experiments or something. So Matthew Broderick is the completes the trio for hosting this direct.
The Donkey Kong Direct is pretty good. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, Jane Goodall just rowing our boat.
I like that they haven't fixed the music. It's still fucked up.
Oh no, yeah, it's still the public domain stuff that they could find. That's
Twinkle Twinkle
together.
Little Star as rendered on bongos by an ape.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. It's perfect. There's no notes. No notes, Guillaume. Well done. Greg, what you got?
Well, it's a little bit tricky. I do want to say, that there is something pretty. I mean, we make fun and understandably so of the Sakurai presentations, how long they are, and just how completely different they are from anything else. Basically, it seems that just his pull, with Nintendo seems to get them to be willing to allow him to extol the virtues of his various games, or sometimes it's just like a bit of DLC, the old Smash Brothers ones where it was, a particular character or whatever. It'd still take quite a long time, a lot of the time, and what details he chooses to focus on, the one about the Xenoblade character's feet or whatever,
in a drawer.
There's been lots to kind of poke fun at, but I mean, so you could, to the extent that they do work or have worked, I would say, Sakurai is really quite a unique case in that he does genuinely seem like he wants to share this minutiae with the audience. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like he's on the shopping channel just like, let me just sell whatever shit is here to sell in whatever way I can, and this thing is so awesome, this is the most awesome thing in the world. It's like, no, he's put a lot of thought into these various details, and does seem genuinely like he thinks that, there's people out there that would like to know, would like to have it shared with them. And that is going to take time, and who else thinks like that, let alone, would actually have the sort of political capital to be allowed, to communicate in that way.
I struggled with this myself.
It's basically no one. It is impossible to give like a plausible answer to this question, because, and again, obviously the game, some of the games that Sakurai's made, Kirby, Air Riders, and Smash Brothers in particular, like, it's the kind of games where, like, you can go in depth on these things without necessarily, like, spoiling things, you know what I mean? The kinds of games they are, they're based on having a lot of variables and a lot of references, a lot of details and stuff that you could kind of go into. Whereas, like, you could say, oh, well, goodness, not, RPGs or, epic adventures of various descriptions, like, surely you could have some deep dive on those or whatever, but it's just, I don't, if you're talking about getting into lore or, the narrative itself, or it's just, I don't think it's necessarily the best way to sell that. Ultimately it's kind of, you're better off kind of showing, not telling, with stuff like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's a particular kind of game and a particular kind of guy that just, I don't think there's really any realistic hope to replicate. The quote unquote best analog I've got is inspired by a memory during the Wii era, I believe. In which case, I think there was an event, I want to say, in Japan for retailers. I think one of the No More Heroes games, probably the first one, where, like, I think Suda was, like, kind of doing a retail launch, maybe he's going to sign some stuff or whatever. And, like, his, kind of bit, with, the sort of aggressively puerile and silly, nature of that game was, like, sitting there surrounded by toilet rolls because, this is the game where you save by going to the John, right? So, like, very few people turned up, and it just wasn't that much of a success anyway. So that image of Suda just sat there surrounded by bog roll with no one coming to get things autographed, whatever they might have been, has sort of haunted me a little bit. And it's like, I'm imagining him, possibly in a fort made out of bog roll, now unconstrained by the fact that, people have got to come to him. He can beam himself into your head remotely from his bog roll kingdom and, extol the virtues of, whatever. I guess, it could be No More Heroes again. It could be one of the other No More Heroes games. I don't know, if some of his other games are less, kind of aggressively puerile as that one was. But yeah, I think a lot of them are pretty similar. Just the new one came out, right? Romeo's a Dead Man or whatever. Which I've seen sort of some somewhat complimentary reviews for, but yeah, I don't really know tonally. I've got to assume it's somewhat similar. But yeah, like one thing I would say, it might not be in the same way as Sakurai, but I do feel like Suda would be proud of himself in the touches, shall we say, the references and the details that he's included for his, and, this might be true of Sakurai as well, I think it's fair to say, his own amusement as much as anything else, but, he wants to share that with the wider public, and, he could do this, in this format.
The highlight of this, though, is that he has 45 minutes to an hour to do whatever he wants and put it on Nintendo's YouTube page.
We've already seen his ability to hijack, one of the most consequential Nintendo Directs in history, right? I think that is absolutely fair to say. When you think about how pivotal launching the original Switch was, or the low ebb they were at with the ruinous fate of Wii U and the 3DS is like running on fumes, and you're launching this new brand, this new hardware line, you're consolidating the two into one, and you're pinning it all on that, and this is your first impression. And they've given him stage time in a live event for some bloody reason. And then, he's going off it, isn't it? I mean, the guy is willing and able to vamp, if for any reason.
Oh, that is true.
So, I mean, if somebody says, hey, we're giving you an hour, fill it out any way you want, and he's at a loss for a moment, he can do it. He can get himself there. until the next thing that he actually wants to talk about or is supposed to talk about. So I think, it's as good as we've got.
So I think I put too much thought into this. So I probed GX for if there were parameters around this that I needed to make sure I wasn't violating. Specifically, the question I asked was, can I do a game that, at least as of this moment, does not officially exist? And the response I got was basically go with God. So I didn't. So I felt like the right answer here is the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Definitive Edition Direct. This goes back to the rumor I mentioned earlier where the actress who played Cosmos mentioned that a game coming out in 2026 had her voice in it from Nintendo. And the question is who would host that. I don't think Takahashi is the right person. Namely, he doesn't really have the gravitas for it. I think the right answer here gets handled very quickly. So we get like a 30-second fade into Elysium, the Blue Sky. You get this, the first chords, you get the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 logo, and on the bridge, you get Definitive Edition Direct to append the logo. And then roughly at the 30-second mark, the visuals of the logo fade out, but our host fades in because our host is in fact Dromark from that game. We are going to have characters from the game host their own fucking direct. That's how we're going to solve the how do you have somebody go for an hour thing. You don't. You have non-humans do it. And Dromark's got a nice voice. He's got like a very calming and soothing voice. He could do narrator voice easily, but he's not. He's a very attractive large cat.
It's sadly, I do remember reading that the voice actor for Dromark passed away not so long ago. Yeah,
he did. So we're gonna have to replace him. But I'm sure we can find someone who can give us that equally kind of elderly sounding.
I mean, not that it was for the same reason, but what about the extra content in Xenoblade Chronicles X gives you this confidence?
Oh, I'm confident, fully confident. What gives me that confidence is the answer to your question.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So at the 30-second mark, we get about a minute-long introduction where he tells us who he is. He introduces himself. And he talks a little bit about Nia, of course, because Nia is his driver. So it's an important relationship there. But he's also kind of her father figure to a certain degree, because she desperately needs someone to keep her out of trouble. He also introduces Rex, Pyra, and some of the other blades. Just kind of talks about the game world at a very, very low intensity, because minutes 1 through 4, or 130 through 4, are just a tour of Allrest, where we get to see all the continents, all the.
To be fair, I mean, if Dromark is not on the table, which I'm quite happy with, but Gramps is another natural choice.
It is, and Gramps, actually, it was originally Gramps, and I kicked Gramps out because Gramps did the voiceover for the stage on the Direct for Smash Brothers. And I was like, we've already gone to that well, so I'm not going to go back there. But originally, Gramps was in this role. After the 4-minute mark, we've gone through all the continents of Allrest that we're going to talk about. Minute 4 to 5:30, there's a title card that flashes up, and it just says the word driving, because Sakurai does this. He throws up title cards that are evocative. They don't tell you exactly what they're about. And at this point, Rex takes over. It's voice only. You don't actually have to see him. Don't worry about it. And he talks about, diving. And he talks about diving for scrap. And you're thinking, why is that the next thing up? Well, if you remember the Sakurai directs for the Kirby Air Riders, the order at which things show up seemed completely nonsensical and random. It is completely like train of thought in his head. Oh yeah, there's that 2D version of the 3D thing I showed you earlier. Let me talk about that right now. And then he would swing wildly back to another topic. And we're going to do a lot of that. So for a minute and a half, it's just Rex telling you about what diving is like in his world. If you've played this game, you know what I'm talking about. If not, Rex dives for scrap from the past under the Cloud Sea and sells it for money. There's a whole mini game around it. From 5:30 to 6:30, Dromark is back. The title card we get is just called Story, and the music we get in the background is the Uriah Day theme. Dromark's back at the helm. He's talking about the rest of the cast and giving some high level on the story. We do not get to meet Zeke because we're not worthy of that moment just yet. We have to purify ourselves before we get the chance to meet Zeke. Minutes 6 through 15, or 6:30 through 15, the title card is Combat. Now, if you've played Xenoblade Chronicles 2, you understand that the battle system got way out of hand. Background is counterattack music. Of course, that's what it has to be. Rex is now back talking about the combat system. We do get to see him this time. He introduces how blades work in battle, the battle system, and the explanation takes almost 10 goddamn minutes because this thing has a million systems in it. What we don't talk about is our blade combos, but we'll get to that. Minutes 15 through 16 are costumes. Dromark is back. He's talking about the new free outfits for the characters because only Rex had a second outfit in the original release. Now they all do. This is being set to the Gormati Day theme. 16 through 22, we're now in the world cosmology because, again, we're swinging wildly between topics. In this case, we have a new guest host. The Indal Day theme is playing because the best expert on the cosmology of this world, the Praetor Amalthus himself, makes an introduction and talks very calmly about the origins of Alrest. And again, we're going to swing wildly back to 22 through 26. Title card, Combat Part 2, Blade Combos. Dromark returns to explain how blade combos work. This takes almost 4 minutes. Music is set to the power of Jin. 4 minutes might be undershooting it for how long it takes to explain that fucking system. 26 through 29:45 is a card called Drawing Blades. It's just Dromark talking about core crystals. It gives them the background and then explains how you pull them, and he notes that some of them are very rare. If there is a new blade, this might be where we introduce them. 31 through 34, title card, Amiibo exclamation question mark. Famed Amiibo fan Masahiro Sakurai is here to talk about the existing series Amiibo and how they'll be used in the game. They are being reissued. There is no music for this sequence. We got a Sakurai cameo. Card 30, time 34 through 41, title card, Amiibo exclamation point. Sakurai still here. He notes dryly as a joke, I am back. There is voiceover laughing. There is a new Rex Amiibo. There is a Zeke von Genbu, and he introduces as the bringer of Chaos Amiibo with Pandoria. Sakurai makes an Eye of Shining Justice joke. Also shown, Tora and Poppy, Morag and Bridget are mentioned but not shown. Nia and Dromark are on screen as we fade away from Sakurai at the 41-minute mark. For the title card music, Dromark is back. He is preening, looking at his Amiibo of himself, and jokes about having Amiibo. He talks a bit about the music. We get some samples. And he notes that there is new music for the game because at the 43 minute 15 second mark, Adam comes in saying that Torn of the Golden Country content is included. It's his story. He's very braggadocious as he normally is. He says that everything is probably great, but don't play it first. Trust me. And then at the 47-minute mark, the next till 55, it's title card, new content. And it's just Dromark noting we can't say much yet, but there's some new story content to find across Alrest set to the Oresco Royal Capital theme. And then it fades out to the coming 2026 logo. Done. Out. The answer is you don't have any real people in it except Sakurai showing up for a fucking cameo to talk about Amiibo.
Because is he even a real person? I don't think we actually know that at this point. It's debatable.
In some sense of the word, yes. Maybe not in the way you and I would define it, but in some sense of the word, he is real. I have seen him in person. He does exist. I just like the idea that he just shows up to talk about Amiibo and disappears. I'm here, Amiibo, bye!
I mean, it's entirely plausible.
He does end up getting nearly 10 minutes of screen time, though. Like, he gets significant screen time. I also like that we don't get to see the Morag and Bridget. I borrowed that from Capcom. It feels apt. But Sakurai pulled that shit too a couple times where he's like, we'll have Amiibo for these characters, but we can't show them to you yet. So to try to get after that, there is at least one laughs note in here. There could be others. We swing wildly from topics like he does. We swing back to topics that in theory we've already covered, but we're back on it again for no particular reason. The sequencing doesn't build on itself. It's like, here's one thing, here's a completely different thing, here's another thing. It's unnecessarily long. It's wildly long. And we're stealing his title card format where the card doesn't actually tell you exactly what's coming up. It like evokes the idea of the thing that you're going to get to hear about for the next period of time. The that we're not picking up from him, though, is that we're going to let there be multiple hosts, although all of the hosts are effectively virtual characters, so it doesn't matter a whole lot. I do like the image, though. Everything's kind of set on the, I can't remember what the name of the trade ship is. I think it's just called the trade ship. So, like, everybody's on the trade ship.
The Argentum Trade Guild or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So that's where it's all set, except for when Dromark gets to see his amiibo. He is on Sakurai's desk next to the amiibo of himself and Nia, and is very excited about it. In his little sleeping cap, because we had to get that in there at some point. That is, by the way, his costume in the game. He just gets to wear his sleeping cap all the time. I think, this would be the most insufferable direct you could put together. I think people who don't like Xenoblade Chronicles 2 would be made insane by it, and that's a bonus to me. But also, if you have never played this game and you're watching it, you would be utterly baffled. And I can't tell you how baffled I was walking away from the 2 Kirby Air Riders directs. So I think this all works. This all fits. This is it's not the same because the context is different, but it's a good approximation of the emotional feeling you would have walking away from it that I had walking away from the Kirby Air Rider direct part 1. Part 2, I was kind of ready for his bullshit. Like, part 2, I was like, okay, I saw the last one. I saw they gave you an hour again. I fully expect more bullshit. But the first one was truly bewildering. And so I wanted to try to capture that essence of bewilderment, by 1, having a talking tiger introduce the entire affair, and 2, it being a character that normally is pretty quiet and normally just kind of observed what was happening. And when he did talk, it was almost always for comedy's sake. I missed a step in there. At 29, between the drawing blade segment and the amiibo segment, there's a 1.5 minute segment presented by Professor Susu, which is Tora's father, that talks about the game Tiger in Nippon dialect. I don't know why we're talking about Tiger. It just feels like the kind of thing Sakurai would have done. It's there, so we're going to do it. There's also, it plays a Tiger theme during that, and we very, 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 very briefly hear from Poppy, who tells them to give the direct back to somebody else. Just like, go back. This isn't your direct. I think that covered everything. I think that was everything I had in my notes. I like the idea that this is just an emotional roller coaster of a direct, though. Just huge segments of nothing followed by sudden wild swings into very important content. Tried to capture the spirit of the question. We're at 46 minutes. So, I think we're going to call it there. We said we're only going to do one email. We're only going to do one email. It's kind of late. But as a reminder, we're going to do our top 5 next week. I'm saying it again to extra make it something we have to do. There will be no predictions next week. If we do decide to do them, it will be in a subsequent week. I'm not promising we'll do it the subsequent week. In a subsequent week. That could be next year for all you fucking know. That's still subsequent. But I don't know that we're going to do them because they've already done one direct this year and, you know.
Tell you, I feel really good about that Castlevania game.
That's true.
Yeah,
no, you got a point.
It's with Motion Twin. Not bad, man. And
could you have any more emotion? Thank you.
And finally,
yes, go ahead.
Guns of the Patriots is free from the shackles of the PlayStation 3. It's free from the cell processor.
I'm legitimately stunned we're finally here. Like that seems crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Because it felt like that. It feels like there's been enough time that they could have done that.
Yeah, it does. And also, if you get the collection version, Ghost Babel as well.
Ghost Babel. I can't. The Ghost Babel freed from the GBA and also from there only being, 5 copies of it?
Yeah. Well, Ghost Babel was a Game Boy Color, was it not?
Game Boy Color, you're right, yeah.
Yeah. No, I guess that's sort of in a similar capacity with the first volume to the MSX games being a part of the package. Yeah. So it kind of fills in that capacity because here you've got MGS4 and you've got Peace Walker as well. But kind of they haven't got. There's some of the PSP stuff that they haven't got there, right? Like Portable Ops or whatever. But
Yeah,
it's nice that because we talk about stuff like Ghost Mode, it could be the kind of thing that falls through the cracks, right? It's like they won't put it on NSO, just like the terrible Castlevania that they did put on NSO. It's not that. I mean, it's not good, but Legends, right. the one they put, because it's like, well, we could put it on a collection, but then when will they get around to that? But it's happened, so that's pretty nice.
Yeah, I like Peace Walker a lot. I really do. It's weird. It's very weird.
Yeah, the base building stuff is very strange.
But Peace Walker really sets the stage for 4. Like,
Yeah.
4 is built on the back of Peace Walker. Now, it doesn't have the big open worlds, obviously, because that was a Vita game, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
It might have the bondiest song though, like the maximum Bond music.
More than Snake Eater?
Really
I mean, Snake Eater is
in the neighborhood. It's in the same neighborhood as Snake Eater. It's up there. It's wild. Is it Sins of the Father isn't really there, although it's trying. God, what is the name of the song for the Peace Walker theme? It's not just Peace Walker, is it?
Oh man, it's something ridiculous, right? Like it's something really dramatic or something.
Oh shit! I'll think of it. I'll think of it like as soon as we end the show, and that's gonna bother me. It might just be called Peace Walker main theme.
Well, if you have Snake Eater was just the subtitle of the game, for MGS3, and the title of the song.
Heaven's Divide. That's the song I'm thinking of.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's a fucking song right there, y'all.
On YouTube, I'm just looking at the picture of Snake that they have on here, and he's literally carrying. And one of the guys in the comments calls this out. This guy is carrying 5 rocket launchers, an LMG, an SMG, and aims with an eye that he can't see through. This guy is as badass as it gets.
It's true,
it's so true. He's totally strapped with every kind of weapon you can possibly have.
Peace Walker is a completely insane game. Like, I'm just gonna say it right now. If you never played it because it was on Vita, get ready. It's something else.
It's pretty out there, yeah.
It started on PSP though, right? I think maybe
it might have been a PSP game. Yeah, I can't.
But perhaps there was it was like collected later with other games.
I played it on the PS4 as part of or 3 maybe as a collection.
HD quote unquote collection, but it was very much like what was popular on PSP, Monster Hunter, right? So that's what I've always heard, is that it was quite, with the base building and stuff, that there was an influence there of like the mission structure and whatnot. So it kind of sounds interesting, but I've never got to play it myself.
Monster Hunter is in it. There's a mission where you
crossover,
yeah. There's a mission where you take down a dragon.
Well, they had the Ape Escape, crossover back in the day and stuff.
They did. Yeah, there's like just the dragon. That mission's hard as shit too. It's miserable. Because he's just a guy shooting at a dragon. All right. Well, Greg, it is. Speaking of music, it's time for some music.
It is, yeah. Well, I've had a couple of things I was working on. So this week, just shortly, before we recorded, you had the launch of Mario Tennis Fever, of course, for Switch 2. Next week, we've already talked about it. Virtual Boy is going to be launching. So, what do you go with? Well, why choose when you can kind of have both? Because you can have music from Mario's Tennis for Virtual Boy. And the only problem with that is the fact that Mario's Tennis for Virtual Boy is not one of the initial games.
It's fine.
It will get drip fed. I mean, you can see the logic. You don't cannibalise the sales of Mario Tennis Fever by making Mario's Tennis for Virtual Boy available just a week later. You know, that's much too risky. You know, the amount of people who surely will have bought, you know, either the full plastic recreation or the cardboard version that will play it and then think, you know what, I was going to spend the full amount to buy Mario Tennis Fever, but not now. I've achieved satiation at this point because I've seen some very nice sprite work of the Mario characters for that in stereoscopic 3D. You know, it seems a little bit strange to me that would, because I'm pretty sure that's what I think of when I think of the Virtual Boy launch. To be honest, to the extent I can remember it.
Oh
being
yeah,
covered,
absolutely.
By the magazines that were covering imports, obviously back then, because it never did come to Europe at all. The Virtual Boy, of course, but. Regardless of the fact that it won't actually be there on launch, it does demonstrate the kind of sound that Virtual Boy games had. Right, there's definitely a lot of overlap with the soundtracks you got. They had a pretty distinctive sound. It's not like a million miles removed from a Game Boy kind of sound, but obviously it's more advanced. It's more rich. There's some pretty cool Virtual Boy music that you could. I think we've used something from Galactic Pinball that someone requested quite a few years ago now. But Mario's Tennis has got some nice music. This particular track I've chosen is the tournament bracket music. Yeah, so presumably just for a menu, but it's got a pretty cool sound to it, and like it gives you an idea of that kind of Virtual Boy sound in general.
Cool. All right. Well, now it's time for us to go. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Later.
Bye bye.